Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Over the Top Rope podcast. I'm your host, Nick, and today I will be reviewing AEW Collision for December 16th, 2023. Now, for me, this episode of Collision was kind of a mixed bag, meaning that not everything was great on the show, and some of the things I really didn't quite understand why they were on the show. But I'll get to that in a minute. But the thing that I did love about Collision was the three matches we got in the Blue League of the Continental Classic. We started off the show with Andrade El Idolo versus Claudio Castagnoli. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, so I'm just going to call him Claudio. We had Andrade El Idolo versus Claudio, and they really set the pace for the show. They opened the show, had a great match. Anything like every time Andrade's in the ring, he just keeps giving banger after banger after banger, in my opinion. And I felt like Claudio and Andrade worked very well together. There were several near falls, there were several uppercuts and typical, moves from each guy. Andrade with the figure four, Claudio with the uppercut and the big swing, and it was a very good match. It really did get physical. Uppercuts, dragon screws, you name it, they did it. These two really went head to head with each other, fist to fist. I actually thought it was a very good match. Maybe not as good as Andrade's match with Brody King last week. I believe is who he fought last week, Brody King. I don't feel like this match compared to that match, but it was still very good. Both men gave it their all. The ending happened when the ref was going to put the turnbuckle pad back on the turnbuckle because one of the wrestlers had, I forget who, either Andrade or Claudio had ripped off the turnbuckle pad. And Claudio goes to pick up Andrade for the uppercut, and what he does is he does a one of those what's it called, the thing where they drop him down on their knee. But what he ended up doing is he gave Andrade a low blow. I think he gave him the vertical drop, I believe it was called, without the referee seeing. He gave him a atomic drop. That's what it's called, atomic drop, pardon me. So he landed Andrade's crotch right on his knee to give Andrade a low blow. And Claudio picks up the win. So now Claudio has, I believe, 6 points. So now it's starting to get very interesting. We also had, in the Gold League, we also had Daniel Garcia versus Eddie Kingston. Now this was a must-win for either men, because if either of them were to lose, Garcia would be out of the tournament. And if Eddie were to lose, he would also be out of the tournament. But he would also lose his ROH TV title and his New Japan Strong title, from what the commentators said. This match was really good, really physical again. I mean, what else can you expect from an Eddie Kingston match? You know when Eddie gets in there, he's going to whoop some ass. And that's exactly what Kingston did, and I thought it was very well done. Garcia got his offense, and I noticed one thing about Garcia. And I really appreciate this. They kind of toned down his dancing gimmick. So I think slowly but surely the dancing is gonna fade away. I know, much to the dismay of all the girls out there, but Daniel Garcia doesn't need to be dancing, in my opinion. Very physical match, but Eddie Kingston ended up picking up the win after a spinning back fist after I believe the first two attempts failed. We also had a very weird segment when Abaddon had another match on TV. A very quick squash match. And then Julia appeared. I did like this where Julia appeared with the title, and then Abaddon attacks her. And then all of a sudden Sky Blue shows up and teams with Julia, and they both start attacking Abaddon. Out of nowhere, Thunder Rosa comes running through the crowd because at the beginning of the show, they showed her on Spanish commentary. So, Thunder Rosa comes running down from the Spanish commentary spot to assist Abaddon. I mean, I'm like, why are we bringing Thunder Rosa back in this capacity to assist Abaddon? And then it was announced later in the show that next week Rosa will have her return match, tagging with Abaddon against Sky Blue and Julia Hart. I understand that they want to bring Thunder Rosa back because they're going to be in San Antonio next week. But I honestly feel that they could have found a much better way to reintroduce Thunder Rosa rather than her coming to save the half-dead girl of AEW. I just feel like that was kind of lame and lackluster, but if you liked it, I'm happy for you. We had a street fight between Mercedes Martinez, Diamante, Willow Nightingale, and Chris Statlander. Now this match was very good, but I do have some constructive criticism. Chris Statlander, when she would go to hit someone with a chair, she would only tap them with the chair. I felt like she would just love tapping people with the steel chair, and I'm like, Chris, you're in a hardcore match. Swing the chair, bitch. Swing the chair. It's like she was too afraid to take a swing or something. Because when Mercedes Martinez swung a chair, she swung for the fences like she was part of a baseball team. That chair said crack whenever Mercedes Martinez swung a chair. But I just don't understand why Chris Statlander didn't want to swing a chair that hard. I love Chris Statlander, I really do. I think she's very talented and very beautiful and very hot. I have a huge crush on her, but honestly, Chris, next time you have a hardcore match, try to swing a little harder, please. This match was brutal. There was blood, there was thumbtack, there was everything. And so I'm happy to see the women getting a spot on Collision. And I'm happy to see that it was in a street fight, because I hate those people on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it nowadays. Oh, women don't do anything hardcore, you know. There are those people. And then there are the people that are like, oh my God, why would AEW have the women in this kind of match? Isn't this, obscene? No, in my opinion, it shows you that the women can do just as well as the men can, if not better. I hate this stigmatism in wrestling today, guys, where if it's the men, oh, we don't have a problem with it. The more brutal it is, the better. But the second that Tony Khan tries to adapt that for the women, it's like he gets criticized. Oh my God, they were bleeding. They were thumbtacks. They were chair shots. You wouldn't be saying this if this was the men. So we need to stop that stigmatism. I actually thought, for what it's worth, that match was good. It wasn't great because I've seen better hardcore matches with the women on AEW television, but I did think it was good for the time that they were given. But like I said, I did have that little constructive criticism for Chris Statlander, and I hope she will take my advice and adapt it for her next hardcore match. We also had a backstage segment with Timeless Tony Storm and Miss Sexy Mariah May with Renee Paquette. Mariah said that Tony Khan has helped her get her American wrestling license, and she will have her first debut match soon. She didn't say when. And then she asked Tony Storm if she would commentate on her debut match. Tony Storm told Mariah May, "I'm too busy, darling. I'm too busy. You know, I'm a movie star, darling. I'm too busy." No, Mariah May looked defeated, and then she was like, "Well, could you at least watch my match and give me some pointers afterwards?" And she's like, "We'll see, darling. I'm too busy, And then they announced that Riho and Saraya will be wrestling this Wednesday on Dynamite, and the winner will get Tony Storm at World's End, I believe, if I heard that correctly. There was a segment with House of Black and FTR. Basically, House of Black is telling FTR to go join them for some weird reason. I know this is going to lead to a match with FTR, so I'm okay with it. Now FTR, House of Black has made it personal by burning a picture of Dax Harwood, his wife, and his daughter. So now FTR, after the House of Black, they're probably going to be in a match, and I cannot wait to see that. Our main event was Bryan Danielson versus Brody King in the Gold and the Blue League. Pardon me, I'm tired, guys, so you have to excuse me. In the Blue League of the Continental Classic. This match absolutely rocked. Brody King, I feel, is so underrated. I think people need to show him more respect. I think they think, oh, he's just Malachi's sidekick. Oh, he's just Malachi's heavy. No, Brody King is so much more. And he's showing you in the Continental Classic just how freaking good he is. I wouldn't say another word, but I don't know if I'm allowed to on YouTube anymore. So I'm just going to say freaking. You guys can kind of guess what I'm saying. He's so freaking good that, we need to start putting some more respect on the guy's name. He did a lot of the same moves he did with Andrade in the previous week, but I'm okay with that because Brody is so freaking talented that I don't get bored of his matches. Even though he does a lot of even though he does a lot of the same thing over and over, he is so talented for a guy his size. And what can we say about Bryan Danielson? Bryan Danielson is literally one of the best wrestlers in North America, in my opinion. And I gotta give the guy credit. He's wrestling with a injured eye, and it seems like every match he's in, every opponent he has, is always targeting that eye, and I think that's a beautiful story. I'm glad they stick to that story, even though it's kind of a work shoot. I'm glad that they stick to the story. Oh, the eye of Danielson being focused on. And that's the main story of the match, was Brody was constantly targeting the eye, so much so that by the end of the match, Danielson's eye had swollen up to the size of a golf ball. I mean, and it was like bleeding, and his eye was like swollen shut. I mean, my caregiver who was watching with me even said, why did his wife allow him to do this? And I told my caregiver, his wife allowed him to do this because it's what he loves to do. I'm pretty sure Bree gets worried about him when she sees him in matches. And if you don't think Bree Danielson is watching AEW, you're wrong. I'm pretty sure she is watching AEW on a weekly basis, or at least the weeks that that her husband has matches. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm pretty sure that Bree is watching the times that Bryan Danielson is on. I thought out of the 3 matches we got tonight, this match with Bryan and Brody King was the best out of the 3, not to take anything away from Garcia and Kingston or Claudio and Andrade. All of the 3 matches absolutely delivered, in my opinion. But for me, the best match of the night would definitely Bryan Danielson and Brody King. The end of the match came when Bryan delivered a psycho knee to the back of Brody King's head after the first psycho knee Brody King did kick out of, which shocked the heck out of me. And what was even more controversial, though, and I'm gonna go back and watch it later after I get some sleep. When Bryan hits Brody with the knee in the back of the head, the referee counts 1, 2, 3, but you see Brody's shoulder come up, so I'm not sure if his shoulder came up after the 3 count or before the final count. If someone could please confirm that with me in the comments below, that would be very much appreciated. And that's basically how Rampage, I'm so sorry, I'm so tired. That's how Collision went off the air this week. We also did have a match with Orange Cassidy defending his international title against what was his name? I forget his name. Some cowboy wrestling guy. He was actually very good, but it wasn't a main part of the show, so I didn't feel like I needed to talk about it. But I just wanted to mention it because I know there's going to be people in the comments, oh, Nick, you didn't mention this. When I do reviews, I mention the parts that I feel were the most important. I felt like the Continental Classic was the most important, so that was the majority of the show I spent my time on. And so this will do it for this week's review of AEW Collision for December 16th, 2023. I have been your host, Nick. Join me next time when we go over the latest news, rumors, and gossip in the pro wrestling world as we go over the top rope. Thank you for watching, everyone, and comment down below what you thought of this week's AEW collision. Alright guys, thank you and goodbye. Press 3.